Welcome to episode 130 of Drew's Sports Crew here on this Sunday night. Myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the news in the Wisconsin sports world. Right, you see all the Brewers stuff here in the back, the Brewer flag over. It'll be on your right, my left, and then right, you see the Brewer sweatshirt there in the background. You might even see a Brewer hat up there in the top. It was college night, so I unfortunately was not able to get the hat, but my roommate was able to secure one. Some cool stuff. Brewer themed or college themed night at the ballpark. A fun thing. I guess I'll shout out first. You know, one of the fans who was able to compete in the Player Most Pizza, challenge. Like, do the players know more than do the fans know more than players? And you bet it was Bernie Vandenhoevel, right? A guy who fills in once in a while, Journey to Million. Good to see him. And look, he dominated. He beat Wisconsin native, Ozaki native, Owen Miller. So a win for Bernie. And we'll be playing a game on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Journey to Million. Bernie Vandenhoevel sent in a game. We'll be playing it. We'll see how it goes. I think it'll be a good one. Bernie's known for his quirky, exotic games. So it's going to be interesting. And we'll also be previewing week one for more of a general football standpoint there. So you like the Green Bay Packers? You're at the right place. You love football in general, as we all do. Just head over there, 4 p.m. Central Time. Anyways, more announcements at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you to everybody who watched yesterday's Baseball Crew episode as we previewed the slate. It ended up being interesting. A lot of runs were scored as we expected, but that's how that one went yesterday. But today we have you with the Packer season preview for week one against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. We'll also be talking about the Milwaukee Brewers here, week 24 already. We'll talk about how that week is going to shape out. I will be at the game next Sunday. I'll talk about that too. So that's what we're looking at today here for episode 130. And again, at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, Drew Sports Crew, YouTube, and Facebook. Let's go into it here. Let's start on the football side. So, yes, the Chicago Bears, Green Bay's going down to Chicago, face the Bears. And you might be surprised going into this preview of this game. The Bears are favored in -1 here. Games in Chicago, so usually they're -3 points by default. But still, we're seeing here they opened, I believe, when the Vegas lines, the game line opened up a while ago, rather. I believe Bears started favored -3.5. So the line is -3 it opened at. My bad. It ended up creeping down to -1. And yeah, the story, right? No Aaron Rodgers, no owner of the Chicago Bears is what they say. The Bears end up finally being favored to beat the Green Bay Packers. It's going to be an interesting one. But we can tell you what we know here on the Green Bay side. We're still waiting on a status from Romeo Doubs. He's still marked as questionable. He's got that questionable tag. I think we'll see him. I personally, I wouldn't worry about it. Doubs will be your wide receiver too, I anticipate, come Sunday. And again, that game's 3:25 Central on Fox. It's your game of the week. So what a start to the season there. Doesn't get any better than that. But just going through, right, this Green Bay depth chart to talk about we really didn't talk about who made the team, who didn't. There wasn't too many surprises. Lou Nichols, their draft pick here this past year, the 7th rounder, already gone from the team, though. Emmanuel Wilson, credit him having a phenomenal camp. We talked about him, on this show the last month with how great he's been. He's going to be our RB3. Team's carrying 3 running backs. It is the plan. Tyler Goodson on the IR, though. So it's going to go Jones and Dillon and Wilson. We talked about Sean Clifford. He beat out Alex Magoo at the QB2 spot. Clifford looked very good in camp and solidified himself as the backup. Again, Christian Watson, wide receiver 1, Dobbs at 2, Reed at 3. Credit Malik Heath. We got to talk about him. Look, I don't think he's going to be a guy who's going to take Reed necessarily off the field, right, with how Reed's going to be using this offense, potentially as that slot guy. But look, how Heath played, he definitely is a guy who you're going to see him. He might have 2 or 3 receptions in the game, but he might make some nice plays, and he's going to make plays where you might not see it the most. Malik Heath, that is. how he's done so far with Green Bay. Very underrated guy. Luke Musgrave, we know what we're gonna get from him. He's gonna be your tight end. Josiah DeGuara. So we talked about him going from tight end to fullback. I imagine in double tight end sets for blocking or goal line formation, DeGuara will be up there. I or at fullback, he's gonna be out there. But Musgrave and Kraft in two tight end sets, how they operate in preseason, both those guys were out there. Two rookies. Look, this is the youngest. I believe it's the youngest team in the NFL, and I'm reading this offense, and you can see why. Luke Musgrave, it's going to be good. We like what we've seen so far. I won't call him like this fantasy football guy yet, but he's a guy you want. Maybe like he's fine for your fantasy team, but he's a guy you want on your football team. End of story. What he does as a rookie, there, second round pick on Oregon State, he's phenomenal. Really like that. And the other big thing that the Bears are going to have to watch out for, that Bears defensive front that is decent. Nothing crazy with the moves they've made, last year, losing some guys. But David Bakhtiari is going to be back. He has no injury designation. So that's huge for the Green Bay squad. Haven't really had a healthy, Bakhtiari for a long time, it feels, and we're happy to have him back. Ellen Jenkins is going to be right at guard, as expected. We expect the line, Josh Myers, he solidified himself at the center spot, John Runyon, rather, at right guard, and then Zach Tom at right tackle. And then the other guys who are going to fill in there, Yosh Nijman, right? We remember him from last year. He played some big minutes. Royce Newman also. And Rashid Walker are those the three who are going to work in there. So you have like 8 linemen who you're going to probably see on a regular basis. And then come defense, I'll just talk about Rudy Ford being the guy, Rudy Ford and Jonathan Owens there at strong safety. Both of those guys are on the squad. But otherwise, the defense is as expected. Rashawn Gary, he's made great progress. Kingsley Enagbare, right? Enagbari, right? I've heard it multiple ways, but I can tell you he's going to make a difference in a multitude of ways here for this defense in Green Bay. Gary also, he's going to be coming back from a torn ACL. We know how it always goes, the story with running backs. It takes some time. Still, don't expect Gary at 100% here coming in. I think Enagbari is going to be very important, in this stretch here for helping out this defense. Otherwise, it's your classic defense. Lucas Van Ness, I'm wondering what we're going to see from him. I'd imagine we're still going to probably see Preston Smith operate primarily, and Gary and Igbare. But I think Van Ness will play a variety of snaps. Look, he's not that he's a project, but he's going to take some time here to develop. He's kind of a raw prospect in terms of the moves and whatnot, but from an athletic standpoint, he's as good as it gets, is Van Ness. So it's this defense for Green Bay. Again, this is a young squad, but you like what you've seen. Even when I say young, usually you go to the kicker spot, you look for some veteran, experience. Not in Green Bay. Anders Carlson is your kicker here. And then Pat O'Donnell, unfortunately, was released. Daniel Whelan is going to be your punter and holder. So just wanted to highlight that. And also on the depth chart, something I found interesting. We talked about punt return. Who we knew Keshawn Nixon was going to be the number one guy, but was it going to be Torrey or Reed? Was the question. Reed had experience out of Michigan State. Torrey actually beat him out there second spot for punt return. So I think there's a chance we'll see Torrey return some punts potentially. Hopefully, Chicago's going to be punted a lot on Sunday. So hopefully we'll see both those guys out there. But that's just overall what we're looking at, this Packers depth chart. Wanted to go through it, right? Give some time there. Now we've had the proper cuts made, and the roster looks solidified a week from game day. Now going towards, right? So we talked about Green Bay. Not going to go through Chicago's full depth chart, but just stuff to monitor come game day is definitely with Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle there for the Bears. He's going to start the year on IR. That's huge loss here for this Bears squad. Again, definitely a guy they're going to lean on. Again, this team for Chicago, guy they need. They need the offensive line depth, and It's going to be interesting, right? Darnell Wright, right? Guy recently just taken in the draft. He's going to be starting here week 1. So it's going to be interesting to see. And they're going to probably play him right tackle is what I'm seeing. So I'm wondering how this is going to go for Chicago. I think the line's going to be the concern for this team. Uh, if you're Green Bay, you got to win at the front. You got to stop the run with Chicago. We definitely know, right? DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. This is one of the more talented receiving cores this team's had, but you definitely still like what your odds with Green Bay to stop the run, and just control the line there. Just going through a score prediction, how I'm feeling on this game. I like Green Bay in this one. I'm just not I don't know about what kind of point output we're going to see. So over under right now, 43.5. Feels reasonable. Nothing too crazy, but I think Green Bay's winning this one, and we're going to have to see. I think it's going to be a close one. I think Vegas has the right idea here. It's going to be a one-score game, but I like the idea of Green Bay winning here week 1 in Chicago, and I think I'm going to stick with that here. So that's your week 1 preview. Full disclosure, I actually just pulled up ESPN matchup predictor. The Chicago Bears 51.5% chance to win versus the 48.1% chance for Green Bay. Then there's some in there for the tie. So, if you want a tie, we have some percent left over. So if you're rooting for that, there you go. But that's what we're looking at week 1. Let's actually go right over now to the Milwaukee Brewers. But first, I wanted to mention throughout the year, you're going to see at your sports crew on social media, I'll be doing a player of the week series for the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to highlight win or loss, what players stood out and what they did there in the game. And so far for the Milwaukee Brewers, highlighting player of the week, we so far have William Contreras, named him player of the week this morning before the game. And guess what? He did his first at bat after being named Drew Sports Crew player of the week. He hits a home run. So cool stuff there. Love to see it. And let's go and talk about how this week went for the Milwaukee Brewers. It feels like I say it, multiple times. This was a weird week. You start off. I think really what made it a weird week was the Chicago series. You win 6-2. Mark Hanna almost hits the scoreboard. Shout out Ryan Borkart. He makes the Jumbotron, rather not the Jumbotron, but makes Bally Sports Wisconsin. He's on TV on Monday. And 6-2 was that final there. But go to Tuesday and Wednesday, the Wrigley weather kicked in. And when Wrigley weather kicked in, it became unbearable for both parties. Brewers lose 1-0. You couldn't hit in the conditions. It was remarkable. There was a pitching duel there. And that was on Tuesday. That was August 29th's game against Chicago. Just all I'm saying is Burns and Steele was a pitching gem. And it was just a game not ideal to watch, quite frankly, was how that one looked. They ended up losing then with also not so great weather conditions on Wednesday, 2-3. So they actually now are tied for the season series against Chicago, which is huge. That season series is basically an extra game buffer in the division. So that's why we're monitoring how that ends up working out. They still have some more games against the Cubs. They have a 3-game series there to end the month, actually to end the season rather. So we only have a month to play yet left. And the Brewers then kicked off right Friday, Saturday, Sunday series against the Phillies. 2 games on national television being Saturday and Sunday. I thought they blew Friday's game. I was skeptical. So in that one, they call it right Craig Tember, right? Craig Counsell in September. Craig Tember. Brewers have a great record in September in Counsell's tenure as Brewers manager, and with that, you expect some great performances. And in this one, 8th inning, Trey Turner comes up, save situation. Counsell brings in Williams in the 8th inning with 2 outs for a 4-out save. Gives up a 3-run home run. It was pretty gut-wrenching, for Brewer fans. And it was like, okay, Counsell just micromanaged this game and the Brewers lost. But then what happened? Right, Comeback City came in. Alec Boehm had an unfortunate error. Brewers take the lead. and that's all she wrote. Williams actually in the ninth came back out. Credit him, and he bounced back, got the win 7-5. Saturday they win 7-5 too. They knock around Aaron Nola. They take him for 7 runs. The Brewers historically have struggled against Aaron Nola, and you heard me in the baseball crew. I was not too fond of taking a lot of taking really any Brewer players, but I considered Mark Hanna. He had a great week. He honestly could have been player of the week as well, but ended up being, Brewers get that win 7-5. They hang on there. And then Sunday comes around. The game's on Peacock. Brewers' first game on Peacock this season and only game on Peacock. And you did not miss much if you do not have Peacock. Brewers lose 4-2. They were up 2-0. Then come around top of the sixth, they get up a run. And then, right, what happens is, how have the Phillies scored their runs in this series? It's been the home runs. It's literally been the long ball. That's all they need here. And that's all they really need in this one. Romildo hits the scoreboard. Alec Bohm hits a home run. And that ended up really helping out this squad here, getting them that win 4-2. Brewers actually out hit the Phillies in this game too. That's baseball for you. You just things like that happen, and it's unfortunate, but Brewers take 2 of 3 from the Phillies in a series that you were happy with, right? That was an outcome you'd be pleased if I told you they took 2 out of 3 from Philly with Nola and Wheeler both starting in this series. So we do have now, especially since Burns didn't even pitch in the series, Corbin Burns is pitching Monday, it looks like. And I'll go through the schedule here. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all a 3-game series at Pittsburgh, 5:35, 5:35, 11:35 are your 3 first pitch times. All 3 on Bally Sports Wisconsin. Thursday, you get an off day. And then you go to New York to play the Yankees. That's 6:05, 1:05 on Saturday, and 12:35 on Sunday, all Central Time here. Again, it is a replica ring giveaway on Sunday. I will be at that one Sunday, September 10th. I will be in New York checking out Yankee Stadium for the first time. I will be, of course, getting some great photos there, sharing those with you all. Looking forward to going to historic Yankee Stadium. Looking forward to see Monument Park as well. So that's what I will be up to. The Brewers Prediction Challenge, you bet. 5-1 is the week. We have Corbin Burns for a 2-start week, Monday and Sunday. Garrett Cole probably is going Sunday against the Brewers. I did take that into account. I have them winning that one still. But overall, I like the Freddie Peralta. You get Burns, and then you get Woodruff, and then you get Peralta Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I like that matchup. And you end up dodging. You get Cole for 1 game, but you dodge the rest of that rotation that has been decent for the Yankees. I don't know if you want to face Luis Severino, but he's put it a little bit more together recently. But basically, 5-1 is the record prediction in this one. Just letting you all know on that. And again, I have that up tomorrow. I will be up at Drew Sports Crew. You can find that. I did want to talk through a little here before we wrap it up. I want to go through the wins above replacement, the WAR report, talk about the stats, what's going on with this squad. And the big thing before the WAR report was, right, September 1st, you get 2 additional players. And we saw Owen Miller. He gets called up. And then the 28th spot, I'd like to say that they've been who they specifically called up, but they've been using that 28th spot. They've been just making this transaction day in, day out. Colin Ray picked up a spot start. Right, we saw that on Saturday, and that's what made that win even more remarkable. Nothing against Colin Ray, but he gives up home runs, and the Phillies hit home runs, so it was pretty scary. So right now, the good news is they're operating with a little bit more depth, and it's really contributed to helping this team out. Aaron Ashby, another good news with him. He has began a rehab assignment at single A, or rather high A, Wisconsin in Appleton. So if we can have a guy like Ashby back out of the pen come October, that's exactly what you want. And just find that really interesting and looking forward to that. So had to highlight that. So Hauser's on the IL is basically how the rotation got shaken up there. But the WAR report again, Yelich and Contreras both lead the way, 2.9 WAR. They're tied. Had that on the player of the week post with Contreras. Corbin Burns in second with 2.8. And then a drop off, 2.2 wins above replacement to Devin Williams. Wade Miley is number 5 on this team in WAR. If I would have told you that, right? What if I told you in April that Wade Miley would have a higher WAR in September than Freddie Peralta, Willie Adames, Brandon Woodruff? Granted, Woodruff is barring injury, due to that, and just the rest of the squad. I think just him at 5 in general just shows how unpredictable baseball can be sometimes. So wanted to highlight that. But otherwise, the team's really shaping up right now at a great time. They've gotten hot. The run differential has improved now at a plus 23 run differential instead of just around like 1 or 1 to 5 and whatnot. And right now they're up 3.5 games to the Cubs. So when we see that, you're definitely liking where you're at right now with a little under 30 games left. So definitely think the Brewers 92 wins is what I'm projecting. They'll be around that, and that's just them going around 500 the rest of the way out. In this schedule, again, I'll try to sum up the schedule here. They have 7 games against the Cardinals left, which is good in my eyes. They have 6 games against the Marlins. I don't know what you think of that. They have 3 games against the Nationals, 3 against the Pirates, 3 against the Cubs, 3 against the Yankees. So all these teams, are either around 500 or below 500. There's no the Phillies that were the toughest opponent that would have been left. There's no Braves, no Dodgers left. And I think that's going to be a huge win for this team come September, October. The Brewers got those hard teams out of the way. They didn't play them well, but they got them out of the way. So come to October, right? Brewers hopefully can get some momentum with this kind of schedule they're operating with. So that was a key takeaway I wanted to highlight there. But otherwise, we're hoping Garrett Mitchell is back. Just not a lot of word on that. Intrigued to see how the outfield's going to shape up. Now Canna's hitting, which has been a pleasant surprise and a very good surprise for the squad. It's really impacted Joey Weimer's playing time, now defensive specialist. Sal Frelick, though, is still, his average now is at 230. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, but he still has 19 walks to 21 strikeouts. He's still getting on base at a 350 clip. He's still going to be a factor in this team come the playoffs. And just want to see how Mitchell works in this too. I like this young squad that we have right now and really looking forward here to the postseason and hoping this team makes a run. There you go. That is the news here for the Packers and Brewers. Again, at Drew Sports Crew. Find you there, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Drew Sports Crew. And that's also on YouTube. Wednesday around 4 o'clock. Jerry DeMillion, Week 1 NFL preview. And then also we'll throw some games in there still. Don't worry. We'll have you there. And then Friday I'll be previewing the betting slate there. And I'll keep you posted on when episode 131 is going to come out next week. I anticipate it being probably on that Monday night, probably, just with the nature of, coming back. I'll be in New York. I'll be able to catch some of that Packer Bear game, if not a lot of it, just based on how actually the times line up with the Yankee Brewer game starting early. So that's going to be good. And the game's at 3:25. So don't worry. I'll be fine on that. But I'll keep you posted on when that's coming out. Episode 131. So that's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, here on this Sunday night. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.